Welcome to the Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Hany Rambod, and I have none other. This is your return. This is a return. This is your second time here. Lauralie, the queen of bikini. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so nervous.
Why are you nervous?
So I realized after our first podcast together that people are actually watching. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know if to take that as a compliment or not. People are actually watching. You had more than 100 people, more than 1,000 people.
Yes, a lot. And just kind of, saying like great comments, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I was like, I don't look back at my things. Do you ever look back at your things?
No.
Right?
No.
You don't. So it's like, okay. But then you have people that actually come in the gym and just regular. They're just like, I watched your podcast this morning. I'm like, oh no, you didn't spend your morning with my voice in your ears. But it's like, they loved it. They enjoyed it. But now I'm nervous. I'm like, yeah, I'm nervous.
There's nothing to be nervous about. We just got done training. We got Lauralie here for the open gym weekend. So what we're doing is actually at Evagen, we had a select number of people that we are brought into the gym for Saturday. And so by the time you listen to this, you'll probably already see the pictures on the Evagen channel where we had an open gym. We're bringing, Axel is here right now. He got to train with me a little bit earlier than we did. We got Sid coming in tomorrow. We're supposed to have Jared Feather coming in tomorrow. This is going to be cool. So we have a really good crew. And what's exciting is the fact that the last time you were here, you were getting ready for the Olympia. And now you are Miss Olympia. So congratulations, first of all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you for having me because it's always such a great opportunity to be in your presence. Like I really, really am so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for being part of the, Evagen, but it's also so meaningful that I won my, the title that I've been working so hard for, being an Evagen athlete. So thank you for having me. I'm so excited for this weekend. And
I would love to take all the credit for the fact that you won, but literally you were just knocking at the door. You had won 3 Arnold Classics and you're right on the cusp, working with Kim, working with your boyfriend and working together as a team. And you guys just really dialed it in. And I loved that we were able to really witness and be a part of your journey. And it means a lot for me because obviously with me coaching so many people myself and then being able to not only have Sid, but now also having you as part of the team, it makes a huge, huge difference. And your feedback is always amazing. Like about flavor systems, about the products, about how you use them, you just give really good perspective. And so again, having you here as a champion and being able to highlight that is great because I know originally you were thinking about going straight into the Arnold. And I do want to touch on that a little bit. And it was kind of a little crazy to me because I was like, wow, you just won. Why don't you just take a deep breath and just enjoy it? But is that just because you're so used to going into preps back to back all the time?
I think it became an automatism. I feel that I've been doing this for 10 years now and I cannot remember celebrating my birthday. My birthday is next week. And that's because I've been doing the Arnold for as long as I've known. So it just, I think became automatic. And for me, there was no changes of that. Even though I've won the Olympia, I was just, okay, well, we're just going to keep on doing the champion, what champions are doing and just carry on and doing another prep. And like you said, not really taking a deep breath. And, Kim told me, he's like, go back, take a deep breath and think about it. And I was just so, again, automatically send my request.
Was you for it or against it? What was Kim's, thought process on this?
So Kim is always going to support me and my thoughts, right? And if we're going for it, we're going for it, and there's no way back. But I think he really tried to make me think about it and not do my usual comfort thing where I just go and carry on with my decisions without giving some thought. So he was shocked when I actually told him, because I actually ended up telling him I actually sent the request, because you need to request for an invitation, right? So I actually sent him a screenshot and was like, okay. And he was ready, he's always ready to but he wasn't, he just knew what we've been through for
Mm-hmm.
this last 22 weeks of prep for the Olympia. He was huge. And he understood where I was coming from. He understood who I was as an athlete, but he also knew from his experience what it meant to win the Olympia. And now what we have to hold as responsibility and the shoes I need to step in. And I think he's much rather look at me now fulfilling those responsibility and like walking to those shoes than just being on stage again. And these are obviously my personal goals, and he's always going to support me as much as he can. But he's also very happy that we're stepping forward into that role right now, into, you know, making a decision on choosing longevity and what is right for me and being an ambassador for the sport. So I'm excited for this phase of my life, taking a step. You know, it's a step forward. It's nothing of a step back. You know, people can make it what it is or whatever they want, but in our heads right now, it's a step forward.
100%. I think that when you called me and we were talking about it, and when you're, you know, making that decision about not doing the show, what was the thing I told you? I said, I don't know why you're even doing the show, because you get a chance to have that victory lap, and you get to be able to really absorb what you're doing. And I know that certain people will come to mind, like Samson Dauda. But again, Samson Dauda is going for a $500,000 prize. So he's going for that big check. So for him to win the Olympia, win 600,000, trying to go in for 500,000 at the Arnold, that's one thing. But with you, and not that you couldn't do it. It's more of a like, enjoy the moment. You won 3 Arnolds, and then this is your first Olympia win. And I know you're going to try to repeat, and you're going to go in there and try to build a legacy. And now is the time to, like what you said, create longevity and also be the brand ambassador that you are. Were you afraid of that a bit? Is that one of the reasons why you might have kind of just went right back into like, I want to go into battle mode?
Maybe subconsciously. There's probably some of that. I think whatever you want to call it, you know, I'm going to go for, because that's what champion are doing. And like it just, I was so hyped up. I was like, okay, Arnold 4-time, it sounds good. Let's go for it. And when it actually, you know, we started prep, everything was good. And then when we had the blood work, it just, the decision was made for me, you know, and I really had to think. And sometimes we go into that mode of like not really thinking. And us as athletes, we take a lot of noise, and we never self-reflect on what we actually want to do. So I think subconsciously there's a little bit of that. You know, I've been in the 2nd spot, 5th spot, like always kind of there, but never the one. And I think it really hit me on that Sunday after the Olympia when I was sitting down at the champion seminar. And, you know, you have C-Bum there, you have Sid, you have, you know, Missy, and then Ryan Terry sitting. And I'm like, wait, that's my chair. And I'm actually here as the title holder of the Bikini Miss Olympia. So like when that hit me, it's like, I wanted to go into hiding. So I'm like, okay, I did my Sunday here as a champion, but now I want to go into hiding and just like go back into prep and just go into that grind where, like, you know, you have your hoodie up and it's just like the grind and the this and the that, and you just go into your comfort zone. And it's insane to say that bodybuilding has become my comfort zone, because for a lot of people it's uncomfortable. You know, it's a lot of sacrifices and all this stuff, but it became that for a little bit. So when I had to like really think hard on what is actually the best decision, what is the best thing for Lauralie right now, and trying to be all that, be all of myself, because when you're crowned, like when you earn that title of Miss Olympia, it's kind of like you kind of feel like you need to reinvent everything and be someone that is bigger than yourself, when in reality is like being all of who you are. And you start feeling some kind of like different pressure. Now you need to show up with like a 6-pack every day, like, and not talking the same way and be more articulate. And don't get me wrong, I want to work on all that and be a better ambassador for the sport, but I also want to be more of myself, because that's all I've been doing for the longest time. And I've earned my title being, you know, a little bit messy sometimes, having, you know, my ups and downs, but also owning all of that I am and being like authentic and organic and genuine. So I don't want to lose that just because I Miss Olympia and now I have to just go full front and be a champion again and never stop. And the grind is forever and it's hardcore. And I love all these things about bodybuilding, but I also want to tap into my more of Lauralie, what she has to offer, being that now, you know.
Well, you went over a lot, and to unpack it, it's really, I guess, admirable, because a lot of people sweep it under the rug. We talked about that before we started, right? And I think, you know, you said you're the queen of that.
I said sweeping under the rug is my cardio, daily cardio, favorite activity. But yeah,
Just when you say that, you mean with kind of all the aspects of competing, or just in life in general?
I think competing for me has been my pillar, my solid core, that's where I go to, where I'm happy, where I'm sad. This is the thing that I can obviously control. It's every 3 hours you need to have a meal. You need to think about your pre-workout. You need to go to sleep. So you're constantly wired. So unwiring and just be into that lifestyle and being into yourself, it's kind of something that I haven't done in a very long time. So sweeping under the rug for me, it's just to help me carry on with my bodybuilding career. It's like, okay, but we don't need that. We just need to be focused on this right now. We need to be focused on our meal. We need to be focused on our cardio and just being optimal constantly into being a machine, basically. So did some parts of my life went under the rug? Yeah, totally. And now that I'm 28, almost turning 29, it's not an age thing. It's just like a duration thing. Things start compiling and you start, whatever you put under the rug starts coming out a little bit.
Yeah.
And now it's just time to take care of it. It's just time to take care of whatever is showing up, because there's a lot. So, and I'm taking care of those things. I'm very happy in the place that I am right now, but I'm, again, taking ownership of a lot of things that I've swept under the rug that just needs to be taken care of. So that way, this is part of my prep for the Olympia. You know, it is, because that's going to allow me to be so at peace, you know, keeping that peace of mind, that freedom, you know, that knowing that I've took care of everything that I need to take care of, and I can go into this prep, having this formula that we have now, which is a 22-week prep. That's where I thrive, being ready about, 9 weeks, 9 weeks ahead of time, maybe like 4 pounds off stage weight, and just kind of cruising and getting my body, accommodated into that new shape, because I get, a lot smaller than I'm actually am right now. So that's our formula. And we wouldn't have had that at the Arnold. That's the whole truth. Like we would be, 10 weeks and it wouldn't have been the same formula. So I would want to go into all of my preps now, knowing that we have a winning formula and really owning that. So
no, that says a lot, because you that's the self-awareness part, saying, okay, if I don't go through those steps of going 22 weeks, then go down to like that optimal look at 7 and 9 weeks, so I can kind of bring my body down. Because we all know that when you bring down your body too quickly, what it does is it just kind of deflates, right? And I think that's what's happened to you in the past. And I think a lot of that has to do is you would go through the Arnold, you peak, and then when you're trying to double peak again for the Olympia, your body just wouldn't get right. And that's what it seemed like from the outside. Would you see that that's kind of what was going on in the past?
yeah, which is interesting, because the Olympia we normally have, I would come off from the Arnold and then kind of go into the Olympia if I wasn't doing like Pittsburgh or New York or whatever. So Olympia was never the right one, because it was, the biggest show, and then obviously stress would come along and things would happen, I got too lean one year and then too big the other year, and
Right.
both years we were talking, you and I. So it's interesting how far we've come, but like I said, I think coming down, and I know I can grow into a show. I know the intensity. I know I'm like I know my boyfriend, you know, he's going to push me where
Yep.
I know he's going to be able to like grow me into a show if we need to. Kim, same thing, knows the nutrition, and I have the best supplements on here.
I appreciate
No
that.
cap. No, I do. I really do. And you know, when I was talking to other podcasts, I don't know if I said it on here the last year, but I was like, I'm going to the Olympia. I have Aldo, Kim, and Hany. Like,
Yeah.
I include you, like, right. I know it wasn't like that because you were busy with your athletes, but in
Yeah.
my mind, that's really genuinely what I thought. And I just felt so safe and protected. And I felt so loved all weekend. That's my little bubble I was in. I was just loved.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we're always checking in on you and saying, hey, look, if there's anything you need, our conversations, right? Just those little 20-minute conversations of where are you? How's your head? What's going on? Is there anything
My
you need?
head.
Right. But again, it's, you overthink, right? A lot of people do. It's totally natural. It's normal. And I think also being a woman, doing a division where you also are being judged from the neck up, not just your physique, but your neck up. And it's like, hey, is the angle right? I got to look, you know, in shape, but I can't look too in shape because I'll, you know, scare the judges because they follow me. Or, you know, all of these things go on in your head, and much more so than a man, because a guy can look really crazy shredded and then just soften up, you know, by the time they get on stage, if they're like, let's say men's physique. Or the opposite. Somebody looks a little soft, but by the time they dry out and they look crazy, by the time they get on stage, it's totally fine. But with women, I feel like it's always like, hey, this is my angle. This is my side. This is like, make sure there's a filter. Make sure I'm not looking a little too beat up from the lack of sleep the night before. And then you're doing your cardio, but you still want to connect with your fans.
Yes.
So all of these extras have to go in with the thought process of trying to chase perfection that you never get to. Right?
Yeah, I think I've accepted that a long time ago. And I think that's what, you know, made me have like such an incredible audience, is because one time, like years ago, I was on Instagram stories, the first time coming out to Instagram stories. I have no English. My English is so bad. And I'm filming this story post like 30 times. And I'm like, wait, I got to go to work. I got to go to work. I need to post this story. And I'm just like, F it. I'm actually going to post it. My French accent is wild, like English accent. I don't even know which language I spoke on that story, but I was like, hey, this is me, guys. Thank you for following me. I think that's what's the story, right? But from that point on, I was like, I'm always going to stay true to myself. I've stopped using filter. Oh my God, like about a year and a half ago, I was like, what am I doing here? Like trying to catfish people, like catfish myself on those filters. They make me look amazing, but I'm like, let me not do that. Let me be about what I preach. And, you know, I think the overthinking comes just from caring a lot. I care a lot, not only for myself, but how impactful. And I feel that sometimes I've taken on things in my life, whether it is with relationship wise, it's not like a friendship, right? Like relationship with coaches or sponsor that was not aligned with my image. And I was like, you know, it's okay. I just need to do my bodybuilding thing. I just need it. Like they can do whatever they want. I'm just going to do bodybuilding things, you know, but the impact that I had with that and how people use my image in order to make themselves more credible, that was the most painful part in my career. So now, like, I'm always like so double aware who I'm associating with, like who I'm walking to the grocery store with, like what am I wearing, like all of these things. Like I do take a lot of, it's not pride, it's just care,
Well, I think it's protection too.
Oh, protection, yeah.
You know, because you've been through a couple of different tough times where you had some situations that like that occurred, but I think it happens a lot more than people think. And for the people listening to this, you guys know what I'm talking about. You may go into the gym, talk to somebody about something. It could be about creatine. It could be about this and that. And then next thing you know, the person you talk to goes off and says, I'm prepping that person. Because you guys had a conversation about a pre-workout or about creatine. Because people are so thirsty to try to take credit for things that they should not be taking credit for, number one. But number two, they just want that association and they want your name in their mouth. And you could be a local, just let's say you're just a great physique in that gym. Someone will do that because people don't think, they just do. And they don't understand, hey, look, there's that person, number one, you're taking away from what that person's done. And number two, if they're working with somebody else, you're taking away from what that coach is doing. And then you turn around and try to do that. And again, I dealt with this a lot when I was coming up, where people would just try to, leech on to an athlete, and they would just try to focus on saying, oh, I have this to do with it, or I have that to do with it, so that they can try to be able to create validation and credibility for themselves. But really, it was just a conversation in passing, something super superficial, surface. And like you said, when you say, oh, I'm walking with somebody to the grocery store, now all of a sudden that person can be like, oh, she's my best friend, and we're hanging out. And you're like, dude, I just saw her at the store. I said hi, I was being friendly. And all of a sudden it's this weird thing. And then you have to go into this protection mode because you have to say, well, wait a minute. How is this person trying to use my image or my relationship? Because it can get really, really dicey. And I feel that everybody in this industry really can relate to that to some degree. If you've been in it for a couple of years and you've just turned into something, it could be a local show winner. It could be somebody, like I said, who has a great physique, super pretty in the gym. And, all of a sudden, someone's like, oh, I'm her makeup artist, or I'm this, or I'm that, because I gave her something about eyeshadow. I don't know, but I've just seen so many weird things.
The narratives out there that people come up with, sometimes and it's, I think that's the unfortunate part. And because you have to change your vision of every interactions you have sometimes, and it's never as pure. So I'm that when I say I have surrounded that makes me safe, that's what I'm talking about. Is because I can be who I am, which is like, I love people. Like I love being social. I never can see bad intentions. And that's also very Canadian of me, very naive, very Canadian of me. But I had to grow up really fast in the industry because you never know. And I'm sure as soon as you get a title, you have people that that gave you a shaker cup and you're like, yeah, I sponsor her. It's just whatever they come up with. Right. So it's very unfortunate because as much as I've been on there, sharing my journey, and you're people come up with those narratives, and it's you just have to watch one video of me and that this is not true. But do you go and fight with them?
No,
what do you do? Do you call them?
No.
You call them and you're actually talking to them, because I did it in the past. Honey, you think I didn't do it? I would say something that crazy. I'm like, here's my phone number. Call me. We'll talk. Talking to the person after half an hour, they're like, you know what? I'm still believing that. I'm like, okay, this is for me to understand that I know my truth.
Yeah.
People are gonna be around me are either gonna support the truth, and I have to leave it at that. Whatever people want to do with it, it's not in my control. I don't even want to control it. You're gonna lose your mind.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. And also, I think it's also just in general difficult because you want to try to please everybody, but at the same time, people take advantage of your niceties, right? And I think that's the other tough thing with a lot of people. When you start becoming nice, you open up the door a little bit, and then the people take advantage. But, I was going to talk to you about Aldo a little bit. How hard is it getting coached by your significant other?
So he's a trainer, but he would come on any interview and say he's my boyfriend first. He really wants to say that out loud because that's the most important part of his role. And it's something that it's still hard to navigate. I'm going to be super honest with you. We've been at it, we've been together for 4 years now. It's been 4 great, amazing years, being obviously with him, with Kim, working collaboratively. And he's such a fan of bodybuilding. So it's great overall, but still hard to navigate. So sometimes we have to come up with strategies where, I'm still on his schedule. I respect his schedule. I respect, obviously his job. And if I'm having a day, and just having this communication and that verbal exchange with Kim being involved, with me being involved, but on the athlete where we have to change hats basically. But, it's not always easy. I get sometimes emotional. I won't hide it. I'm just where is my boyfriend? I want you to support me. And he's just
it's hard being double duty. It's hard being double duty. I know I did it with my wife when I started coaching her.
And I know that you won't ever do it again.
No,
right?
No. I mean, that's the thing. I don't think she'll listen to me ever again. But she won her show. We did one show. When I met her, she was prepping. And then obviously we've told the story several times, but, and she was really good at taking direction. But if we would have kept going and she would, let's say, try to go for a pro card or got her pro card, then I think it would have gotten even more difficult. But it was so early in our relationship that it made it easier because she was just very tough and good at taking direction. And I honestly didn't want to do it. But then when I saw so many mistakes being made by the guy that was coaching her, I was like, okay, this is wrong. This is wrong. And then I didn't want to get involved. And then when I saw it like really starting to fall apart, I just said, okay, we're 12 weeks. She's going to end up, getting sick. And I said, okay, I think we need to change some things. But that was like about, 1 or 2 months into us dating. And I kept away from it. Like I just said, oh, you're doing your thing. Good luck. And that's it. And then when I started seeing a lot of mistakes being made, that's when I turned around and I'm like, okay, I have to step in a little bit. And then again, I took over and then we were able to fix things and then she won the overall and it was good. But because of the danger aspect of it that was happening, I ended up having to get involved. But it wasn't something that I wanted to do and that's why I stayed away from it. But if we had to continue and do more and more shows, it would definitely be very difficult. Because again, when you get upset, are you telling them to do more cardio because you're upset at them, or is it because you really truly believe it? And then it goes back and forth. It's almost kind of like working with your significant other in a business, and one's trying to be your boss, and the other one has to be the quote unquote employee. Those don't tend to work very well either, right?
I mean, you hear stories all the time, but funny story, like that's how we met. I actually hired him to train me. So like I knew he was really good. I watched his content for a long time, so I hired him. So then of course I wanted him to train me, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then the thing is like I grew a lot with him. I grew a lot. Then my glutes were too big. Okay, we're changing things up. And it was a good time, a fun time, but then it was, he's so into his work. He's so passionate. I was in prep all the time. So we never kind of had that break to like connect. How people have their 8 to 5, they come home and they have dinner together and then they go to bed.
Right.
We didn't have that. So I think that started missing. And then I was trying to have that during our session and he kind of didn't know how to show up anymore. So it was just hard to navigate, but he obviously supports, me so much. And he's a great trainer and always have good intention. If you have good intentions and we both want to win and we both want the best for each other, it never comes out of maliciousness, but it's also understanding, okay, what do you need right now? And sometimes it's just, I just need to train myself for a while. Right. And then he'd be like, okay, let's go ahead. And he said, 1 year that ended up growing, he was like, I was looking at you doing 5 plates on the side backs hack squat. And I was like, I want to intervene and tell you you're doing something wrong. But then he let me learn. And I learned. I learned the hard way. But then after that, I was like, okay, let me take my pride. I want to hear what you have to say. Like,
does he do prep or does he just do training?
He just does training.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
He just personal training.
So that's his zone, right? Because I know he does personal training, but I didn't know if he did prep for others.
No.
Gotcha.
No, he won't get a check-in from you. He's just very and he likes a one-on-one. He won't even do online, really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wants to
be there. He likes to really
hands-on.
Okay.
Yeah, hands-on. Which you're getting back into that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, for me, I've always been hands-on because I did both, right? But now I could just leave it at the door. Where in the past, that's why everyone's like, oh, you're retired. And I go, no, from coaching high-level Olympia, but for the people that are prepping, there's a lot of people. We just had Rough Diesel in here last week. And, Urs is going to come out, I think, before the Arnold, which is going to be really cool. I got to train with him in India. But it's because now I'm just focused on just the workout and being able to give back to the audience, to the people, to the other athletes, and not having to be able to have a horse in the race per se. Yeah. And being able to do that is what's really fun, where I don't have to get up early in the morning and, go to bed late and worry about pictures and updates and all of these other things and peaking for people for the shows. Now I can really just focus on, let's get into the gym let's do some really good training and let's have some fun. And then let's grab a protein shake and a high five.
Clock in, clock out.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Just leave it at the door. And that's, again, for me, that's plenty. But when I see you and, the dynamic of Kim and Aldo and being able to do that, that's why I was always curious. I'm like, does he prep other people, just doesn't prep you? Or is that just his lane? And it looks like that's just his lane. He likes to do the training.
Yep.
That's awesome.
PT.
Yeah. And then now, as this division is now, have gotten almost in some ways now now we have a new division, right? And I really would love to hear your take on the new division.
Yeah, I mean the fit model division. Oh my God! And we actually had the first show at the LA Fit Expo when we were at the NPC Women's Workshop, Sandy Williamson's workshop. The fit model division. What a great addition to our sport and I love the podcast you did with Tyler. By the way, I watched it and I told Tyler this is a great podcast. And if whomever is asking you questions, just redirect them to that.
Podcast.
He was just so open about it. And I think that's great information. But personally, I just think it's great to see this sport grow. And you've been there for a long time. So you saw the women's physique, figure, fitness.
Yep.
But I've never been in the sport having a division after bikini. So now I'm like, wait, this is so cool. Like, it's going to be.
So some people would think that maybe you'd be like threatened by it because now that you're the champ, you're like, wait a minute, now, do I feel diluted? But it seems like you're actually pretty happy about it.
Oh, I'm so hyped about it. I think it's just going to be great for the sport. It's so great to have, and it's also so different. I feel like people don't take it as two different categories. I feel that they think that bikini is going to change because there is that happening. But I think the judges are doing such a great job. And, shout out to Tyler, shout out to Sandy Williamson to make it so different with the criteria of what it is. So I don't think it's people would compare it to bikini back in the days, but I really do think it's going to be completely different. That's why the suits are going to be different. There's no crossover possible.
Yes.
So they're doing it the right way. And I'm so proud to be a bikini. I mean, honey, I've worked 10 years of my life to nail this look. So I'm a proud bikini girl. Nobody asked me.
So you're not switching division?
You're the only one who asked me that. I almost got insulted. I was like, wait, nobody's asking me if I'm going to switch division. I don't know why, but I'm like, no, I'm actually proud of myself because I'm just such a bikini girl at heart. I love this category and
Well, you're built for the category, to be honest with you. It's one of those things where when you look at your shoulders, waist, glute, everything the way that you're built. And I feel that what's really nice about the fact that now they have this other category, it just really helps with a feeder system, something that is more attainable, but a lot of people are threatened by it. I don't understand why. Again, I still think that they should do it for the men's. I think that the men's have gotten super muscular. And back when Jeremy was winning and that 165, 170 pound physique is way different than what you're seeing now. It's much more muscular now than it was when it first started. But that's when I feel like it was its biggest. So I do feel like this creates, especially now you can't cross over. I would do the same thing with the men's and be able to create a feeder system so that if somebody has that look and they can get on stage within a shorter time frame, then we still have the ability to bring them up. And then if they want to build and move up, they still can if they so desire or they're genetically able to grow. They can go to another category. But I feel that when you are kind of where it's at now, the bar is almost too high in the men's side. So that's why I felt that way. But with the women now, I feel that, again, having that fit model look with not being able to cross over really helps identify with a different audience. And if they want to get a little bit more muscular and just a little bit more just rounder, then they can move up to bikini.
Yeah. What do you think about that? Because here's some of our discussion that Kim and I had about the category. Fit model is going to be really hard to coach. The coach are going to be so exposed because if you don't know well nutrition and you don't know well training, you're not going to be able to bring a body because you can't rely on anything else.
Right.
You can't cheat your way into fit model. It's going to be curvy. It's going to be athleticism. It's going to be health, wellness. It's going to be all that. So now I feel like there's a less, like people rely a lot on, supplementation, like to make it PG on here, but they don't really know their basics. So I think there's going to be a lot of coaches that are going to get humbled.
Very much so.
Really fast,
Very much
which
so.
is going to be a great thing for the sport, again, because it's going to showcase that and enforce women to stay within, and hopefully men eventually, like to stay within the potential of their own body.
Correct.
And, we're talking about Sid a lot, and I'm such a fan of her, but she was 7 years old. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's when you say it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. That's what we're talking about. It's like now girls, of course, like they're trying to go into bikini in 2 years and win their pro card in 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's like great things takes a lot of time.
Yes.
And that's why Sid, when you look at her, it's maturity in her muscle. It's density. It's athletic. It's
in genetics. It's just she has insane genetics. And that's just part of it. It really is.
It is. I know it is. But it's just to say that these things were not given. Like we're talking about Phil Heath, like it's athlete. It's pretty muscle. Those pretty muscle. You don't have that a lot in this sport anymore.
I think that a lot of people rush it. And if they do have a glimpse of it, they destroy it. Because taking hormones can actually ruin your look. I know natural guys who looked better when they were natural than when they went on. And that's because what happens is their body ends up going into some type of chaotic change and due to the hormones. And it doesn't make it better. It lots of times makes it worse because they're relying now on something that they shouldn't be relying on. And then on top of that, your body just starts to grow disproportionately and it just throws everything off. And so there's a lot of reasons. And then you see women that do the same thing. And then all of a sudden you're like, wow, when she was natural, she looked so much better. And then they get enhanced. And all of a sudden you're like, ooh, skin is bad. Shoulders are blown out too big. Quads are too big. Glutes are kind of disproportionate.
Yeah.
All of this other stuff. And I just feel that that's what ends up happening if you don't have a good coach that can keep you riled, inside the boundaries of what your division really is.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why people just end up like getting blown out.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. I think you're always one cycle away of messing up your physique totally. And you see it in the rules of fit models. To just go back a little bit on that new division. When Tyler says no cap shoulder, it's because he knows. Like the judges are smart now. They've talked to a lot of athletes, a lot of things that they've seen. So when you start seeing things that are not supposed to be that on women, they're going to call it out for what it is. And they're going to be like, we don't want that. We don't want shredded, like visible, like tie-in or shredded hamstring, even not in bikini anymore.
Right.
Like anyone on the top 5, like they didn't have deep lines in their hamstring, and because they know what it takes. I mean, it's to get that lean. It's a lot of extreme. You know what I mean? And especially for women. So I think it's a very positive turn into the sport, great addition, and we'll see where it goes. There's no negative until we don't see what it stands for. You know what I mean? We don't have anyone competed yet, so all of these negative thoughts, I just think it's like bogus at this point. So I'm excited. I think it's positive.
Yeah. The other thing that I think that could possibly happen at some point, and I don't know if Tyler or Jim or anyone's talked about it yet, is possibly just having set judges for those divisions. Because I always think early on when we just had bodybuilding, right? We had men's bodybuilding and women's bodybuilding, and there was no other divisions. Now with all the divisions, and you have a bodybuilding judge, what are they going to go after? They're going to keep going after the more conditioned look, because that's what they're really, judging with a prior division. So now you constantly do that. But if you have someone who's really focused on what the division they're supposed to be helping create the standard for, then you have more of a purist outlook. And I feel like certain judges are not good at carrying over and saying, hey, I'm not going to go back, because it's easiest to go to the most muscular or the most shredded person, because it just creates a little bit easier way of being able to decide on who's best. But when you are trying to look at the overall structure and you're trying to create that complete look for bikini or fit model, or whether it's figure, if you're using a lot of male bodybuilding judges, then what's going to happen is they are going to, I feel, inherently want to go towards a more conditioned look, a more muscular look, a little bit more extreme look. And I think it just evolves that way. But I think some judges are really, really good and they can do that. They can compartmentalize on what they're watching. But I think some of the others, not so much. And I think that's when you have to kind of just maybe possibly have a standard, and having, if it's something that maybe they should also think about, is saying, hey, these are set judges for these divisions, so that they can also just not have to really work on looking at men's open 1 minute and then turn around and do fit model the next.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I'm sure the sport is constantly evolving. I think having the pit power, like it just shows how much they're really trying to be in tune into growing the sport the right way. Mm-hmm. I think it does come down to the judges awarding either the best physique on stage, which is very subjective and sometimes doesn't really fit the criteria. And sometimes you see that a lot overseas, because then the overseas sees what they're rewarding in the USA. And in the US, most of the time, the big panel, the big show, have a set criteria in their mind. And then they're kind of almost see it as like a stencil, right? So they have the design stencil of the body that they want, and they're just passing the bodies into that stencil. And whomever is like really fit into that stencil that day, that's the one that's rewarded. So sometimes it's not the best body on stage, but it's the body that fits the criteria the best. And these are two different things. And again, I think you're really going to see that in fit model, because if you award the best body, well, sometimes the best body is have cap shoulders, and
that's exactly it.
And that's where they miss the mark, and that's how it gets to evolve and just doesn't stay
too much, and it doesn't stay within the confines of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the good thing is Tyler's actually verbalizing so much. He's going out and he's doing the breakdowns, and I think that really helps tremendously, because we didn't have that in the past, right? We didn't have a lot of that transparency that we have now. And it was because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't have all these things. It was a magazine, and then we would see it 3 months after the show was over, and we would open up a magazine, and then you just be like, okay, it is what it is. But now with that, I mean, again, I think he goes in, what is it, like less than a week later, and he starts to break down the judging already.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it cool. But now he has to try to keep everybody at bay, because there's so many shows now, and like you said, internationally, letting them also. So that's why I think a lot of times they'll send some of the judges from here out there overseas to be able to really kind of oversee the standard, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's happening even more and more now, which is very good, because that's what helps the standard. Because if you have some rogue judges that are going back into like some of the old European days, you would see some of their figure girls, and they were shredded, and they would be like abs and veins and in their quads, and I was like, what is that? And this is like back in the day,
and
right?
rewarding size over like shape, and
100%. Yeah.
And then they come to the Olympia, they're just last call out, 16th, they just don't do well,
Right.
And then it creates frustration, and you know how it goes.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And they don't know what to do, because they were like, hey, I won this show back in like Slovenia or something, right? Yeah. And so I think that's the cool thing about where we're at now as an organization. But going into this next year, I know you got a lot of events coming up, right? And so where are you going to be at next? I know we have Arnold in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to be there. You're going to be there with us. You're going to be there for Celsius as well. And then after that, what's the next show? Do you guys? Because I know you're everywhere. Like I saw you and Kim. Where were you guys at a couple of days ago?
We were in Virginia, so DC, Virginia area. So we've been doing that seminar for like 4 years now. But my first time not being on prep for a seminar. So it's great. Everything is kind of brand new for me. So I'm enjoying those moments a lot. I'm so happy to be here this weekend. I'm going to have so much fun.
Yep.
And then after that, I'm actually going to celebrate my birthday, which I haven't done in a long time. So that's my little
You're going to be 29 in a week.
Don't say it anymore. Don't say it.
That's it. Then you just stay
Still
there.
22.
That's it. And then you go backwards. Then you go 29, then 28.
There, okay, deal.
Yeah.
I can agree to that.
That's it.
That
That's what
sounds
you do.
good.
Just go 29, 28, 27. Just go backwards from there.
Okay, good. Deal. Done
But-
deal.
So now that you're getting to enjoy your off season, tell me about the food, because another thing that I noticed from many, many years of being in this industry is the disproportionate just relationship of women in this industry and food, right? Are you able to kind of like allow yourself to enjoy yourself and get a little heavy, or are you constantly trying to be like, hey, I got to watch and eat like super, super clean because I'm scared I'm going to blow up? Do you get cheat meals? Do you get to have some things that we talked about in the past, but right now with where you're at, are you allowing yourself that, or is it constantly a struggle?
It was a little bit like, in complete transparency again, since we're in the truth podcast, the truth podcast. It was a little bit more of a struggle. Like I had to kind of relearn my thought process on like me going reverse dieting every single time in the past. It's switch on, switch off. I go back to intuitive as soon as I can, as early as I can, to just get my hormones back as soon as I can. For me to do a reverse diet and add 100 grams of carbs every week, it just elongates the process. And I have to go back and prep very soon. So I want to have my hormones back. I want to, have, leptin, ghrelin back on track. I want to have my period if I miss them. I want them back, sorry, it's a lot of details, but as early as I can. So for me to just keeping my physique after a show that I've just got my physique judged on, like, no, I'm going into health phase. So my focus is now changing from a physique standpoint to a health and internal standpoint, which whatever my body wants to do at this point, I have to let it be and be what it is, because we're going all in to that phase as soon as I can to repair what I need to repair.
So how many times a day are you eating now?
Like 4 times a day. I'm hungry, I'm active, I need good fuel. So I tend to go through kind of the same meal that I used to have in the past, maybe adding more fruits. I love like fruits here and there. I would add that. If, I crave for a bigger meal because I train really hard that week, I'm going to allow myself to eat those meals. Like I don't have any issue with that at all.
Do you have a set cheat meal day or a couple of days a week where you allow yourself to have a cheat? Like
I don't really, but I do like a little like Friday, Saturday night maybe, or like a little Sunday brunch. That's my thing. A little Sunday brunch. I love.
Are you doing the champagne brunch?
Like mimosas?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do alcohol. I would do like a bagel, cream cheese bagel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're getting carried away with a bagel and cream cheese. I thought you were going to be like,
Or like a little bit of maple syrup, like, on my, I do those like Hulk pancake with like oatmeal stuff. So I would just like do syrup on it and maybe some Lily's chocolate chip. Like I would go with that. And just bread and butter is my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then what about cardio? Are you doing cardio off season right now?
I do have a little cardio. It's not very cardioing, as I call it. It's a little step between step and cardio. So I do 30 minutes of cardio a day.
And that's in the morning or after training or when?
Depends. Yeah.
You mix it up?
Yeah, I do.
And how many days a week?
7 days.
7 days.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of balancing everything out. And then are you doing blood work right now? Are you kind of like going through again? And then because you said that you mentioned blood work was not where you wanted it. And that's why you're like, no, I'm going to back off of this show.
Yeah.
Now with the situation you're in now, are you going in and how often are you checking, your blood work right now?
So from the last blood work that we've been doing, I started to work with a homeopathic doctor, and I also have the doctor that are working together. So I'm on this phase right now with, the supplements, like magnesium and all of this good stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to get blood work done in about, like, it's going to be right after the Arnold. I'm going to get the second blood work done and see where we're at. Because right now my training volume is reduced by a lot. I told you I'm 3-4 times
a week,
30 minutes, 45 minutes. Like exactly what we did today was like spot on. Like I feel good. I'm not drained. We didn't go to failure really. Like the form wasn't broken down, but we just keep, just some.
How long will you be sore now?
I'm probably going to get sore.
How many days?
2, 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right at that 2 or 3 mark.
Yeah. 3 days is like on average.
And right then now with grams of protein, do you count your grams of protein or macros?
I would go like, per meal, 4 ounces of chicken so it's like 26 grams of protein per meal. And then in the morning I have 200 grams of egg white. So it's about like 26 grams of protein to 30 grams of protein per meal. And I have like 4 meals a day and a shake.
Okay.
Yeah. And a shake, I do a scoop and a half now, which is so
Ooh,
delicious.
look at you.
It gets so velvety, like, mini crisp cookie, a scoop and a half is like my guilty pleasure.
You've been tagging me on those videos you did with Kim, that the cookie crisps. So the cookie crisp, guys, for that you don't know, I made an ice eject that reminded me of cookie crisp cereal, and it has broken little pieces. We call them inclusions, and they're in there. And that's my go-to because I love the texture, and that's what you miss when you're dieting, right? Like, that's why a lot of people like chips. That's why you like pretzels. You like little snack items. And when you put those little pieces in there, you really feel a difference. Besides it just being a pure liquid, it kind of feels like you broke up a little bit of a meal, or like I said, cookies pieces in the bottom of it.
The fact that you just said that, the texture part.
Yeah.
I am such a texture foodie. I love me some different texture. Give me a cake, but that has like a little praline going on, a little crunch. Done. Done. This is perfect. That's why it's so fantastic. I mean, I mix it with even like pumpkin puree.
Oh, wait a minute. How come you don't give me any of these recipes?
What do you mean?
Well, you mix the protein with pumpkin puree?
Yes.
And then what do you do? Do you just like, you chill it or just mix it?
So it's already chilled. So like the pumpkin puree.
Oh, the pumpkin puree is already cold.
It's cold. So it keeps the little cookies compact. Because otherwise, if it's hot,
they'll fall apart.
They do. But when they fall apart, it kind of makes a little like situation, like melted chocolate chip situation. It's fantastic. It's great. But having the crunch with your pumpkin, it's like, I have my mouth watering right now. What's going on? What is going on? Okay, it's good. I have to make you try it.
Yeah. Well, let's do this. Tell me down below in the comments if you think she should do maybe like a recipe a week.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay, so guys, girls, whoever is listening to this, go into the comment section. Let us know, because if we get enough of those yeses, we'll definitely get her to be able to do this. We'll force her to do it. Actually, she'd love to do it anyways.
I would. I do it.
But
like
you should be doing it. Come on. This is like gold. These are little nuggets.
Yeah, people tag me on it. Some people have pick up on it. It's just sometimes it takes a while that all pumpkin with. You just don't taste it, and it's great. It's anti-inflammatory food, volume food. Like the macros are great.
Yeah, because you got a little bit of that density to it.
Exactly, because you see it often with like yogurt. People would like mix it with Greek yogurt, but what if you're lactose intolerant and you want the macros? No, it fits perfect. And then, I just love the protein.
Do you use it when you're dieting?
Yeah, I had that. Oh my god!
Like when you're prepping.
Yeah. Wait, I had the isoject up until a week out.
No, I'm saying with the pumpkin and everything.
With the pumpkin,
okay.
Yeah. Measured 100 grams of pumpkin.
So you just add those to your macros?
Yeah. How many calories? It's not a lot. It's great.
Well, I don't know. It sounds to me like you're having a ton of it. Is it canned? Is it canned?
It's the one from Whole Foods. Yeah.
Okay.
Specifically.
Organic?
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's got to be organic.
Yeah.
Organic.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to definitely share some secrets. I'll share some secrets too someday. Yeah, I'm serious. Because people are asking me, because I had my secret Persian pizza.
Wait, what?
I would do these gluten-free pizzas. You didn't hear about this?
No, spill it right here.
So I would make these gluten-free pizzas, and it was just a tortilla that I would use a little bit of like olive oil cooking spray, put it on a hot plate, right, hot pan, flip it, get it crispy, add a little bit of like pizza sauce, and then I'd get turkey pepperoni, and I would put like low-fat cheese just right on top of there, and then get a pizza cutter, and it would just make it crispy as hell. And that was because I'm a texture guy. I love texture, so like little crispy tortilla, and then that's it.
I can't only.
Rob's drooling over there right now. Rob's drooling over there.
I mean, we're hungry, but I just can't only imagine the feeling you had when you took out your pizza roller in prep. Like you just feel like you made it. You're like, I'm using a pizza roller.
There's a lot of people are getting super creative. Because, and again, just being able to kind of work around some different things. I know some people that were doing certain types of muffins and cookies. My wife will use the Ninja Creamy, and mix that up, and then make the ice cream sandwich, Evogen, Isoject ice cream sandwich.
Yeah.
She would do that, or she would use churro, and then she would turn around and make the ice cream with that.
Yeah.
And
scoop of collagen in there.
Yep. Yeah. The new chocolate one is my favorite. The chocolate collagen's off the hook because I'm just a chocolate fiend. Yeah. But it's but anyhow, when you start mixing collagen and different types of ingredients, and you can literally get some nice texture out of it. And people have gotten super creative with some of these things. And again, I love watching some of those Instagram things. And even though I'm not dieting for a show, just because I like ideas. Yeah. And then I go, oh, and then I forward them to my wife. And then she's like, do it yourself. And I'm just like, you should make this for Cameron. And I'm like, wink, wink, like go in there and steal it.
Yeah. I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah, but it's good. So definitely, and a lot of people who are listening to this, you guys have your secret recipes. Share them, put it on the on the YouTube comments, and let us know if you want to see Lauralie on there.
Oh my God, we could pick up on some of those and actually try them and see how. Yeah,
I'm 100% down.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let us know you guys' recipe. We'll pick some of them and just do them.
Better yet, if you guys do it and you need protein, let me know what flavor. I'll send it to you.
Wait, that's cool.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Sick.
I'll
Okay.
do it. So if somebody out there is listening and you guys are domestic, I can't send it internationally because of all the laws. But if you're in the U.S., I can go ahead and get you guys whatever flavor you want. Go on the online, say, well, this is what I would use, and I'm going to make some kind of cinnamon roll, that. I'll go ahead and I'll do it, because then if it's really good, then I'm going to go ahead and utilize it myself. And we'll give you credit for it. What a great investment. Yeah, and we'll give you guys credit. We'll tag you on the recipe.
Wait, that's such a cool idea.
Why not?
Stop.
Why not?
And honestly, we genuinely have the best. And I say we, but it's you. But
it's we because you guys give feedback. Absolutely.
We have the best flavor protein out there. So I can only imagine how people are going to do some crazy stuff.
Share it, because again, I'm going to use
it. That gets me rolling, actually. I'm like, wait. Okay, I have ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. Let us know your whatever flavor you need for your protein / dessert / whatever you guys are going to make. And
so cool.
And I'll send it to you. So go in the comments and we'll get it out to you. Again, this weekend is going to be awesome. We're going to get ready to do this. And I am looking forward to seeing you get ready for the next show. But we got some time. So for those of you that are going to the Arnold, come by. She's going to be at the Evogen booth. She'll also be at Celsius. And I think the other thing that you guys got to do is make sure we're going to also be at Pittsburgh. That's going to be an awesome show. So that's going to be awesome. And I'm hoping that we're going to be able to see everybody, because I get to actually enjoy some time at the booth and not be stressed out up in the hotel room and be with one of the athletes. I can just turn around and just focus on being able to be present.
Yeah, because you always had those guests. I mean,
I'd always have to be at
that was such a stressful.
Like last year was Hany, and then for the Arnold and the Olympias, I'm never anywhere. I'm always just at prejudging with CBUM, and then I was running back to the shows and never got to enjoy it. So now I'm definitely looking forward to being able to enjoy some stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes, and I will be at FIBO as well. Do you have to go to FIBO?
When is FIBO? April?
Yes, April in Germany.
I've always wanted to go, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
We got to get you to start doing some international travel. She's such a homebody when it comes to the U.S. She likes, it's big enough for her. But I think one of these times we got to take you to one of those big shows.
I have to make you go visit Canada properly. Like that's the second
I told you my
mission.
uncle is in Ottawa, right?
No, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, he's actually visiting California right now, visiting my mom.
Okay.
But I was talking to him a couple of days ago. He goes, "You must come to Ottawa." And I was like, because he's got the Persian Canadian accent now. It's hilarious. And I'm like, "Uncle," because he's a veterinarian and he's still working. He's like, in his 70s, and he's still grinding away, just hard worker, and loves being a veterinarian. And he's like, "Come here." And I was like, "Isn't it hot and humid there during the summer?" And he's like, "Yeah, but it doesn't matter. you live from Texas. Texas is hot too." And I go, "But it's not humid." But I do want to go up there and check it out. But you were from like Montreal, right?
Yeah. So Ottawa is like 3 hours from us.
Okay.
We used to do like field trip at school to like go to the Parlement, like all the museums that they have over there. No, what am I talking about? I'm like thinking DC right now. Okay, whatever. Ottawa has no. They still have the Parlement.
Yeah, yeah, that's where the capital is.
Okay, I need a meal.
Yeah,
That's
I think all the
what's
tariffs,
happening.
all the tariff talk got you a little bit confused. Don't spit out your drink. All the tariffs.
On the mic.
Yes,
Yeah, there's
the
okay.
tariff talk. No tariffs for now. But yeah, so it's going to be a good trip. I'm going to try to get out there because we did Vancouver and that was awesome. And now it's
Yeah.
time to go to the eastern part of Canada.
Yeah, that looks
Yeah.
like such a cool trip. But yeah, come on the east.
Okay.
We know how to party and we have good.
Are you going back soon or no?
Eventually, like I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it. So international it's up next. I can't wait. It's gonna be a good time.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. I know that you were tired from getting ready for this workout, just finishing up with the workout. And for those that haven't seen the workout, go check it out. We're going to put up all the tips, all the tricks on how to be the best in the world. So again, Lauralie, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Hany Rambod, and that's the truth.